Feel free to take any mic you like. Our first question is going to be in the middle.
Hi, April Ray from Broadway Black and the creator of Oscar So White. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of diversity and inclusion, and specifically with Hamilton and some of the barriers that it faces?
I'll speak personally first. I never thought for a second that there was anything strange about the fact that I was playing Angelica Schuyler, except for the fact that I didn't necessarily feel the kind of power that Nicki Minaj has when she's rapping, but it had nothing to do with me not looking like what Angelica Schuyler looked like. I'm very grateful. I've had a lot of wonderful teachers. I have wonderful parents. I have a lot of support, and I do create artificial barriers for myself, but I never, ever, ever see that the fact that I might not look like somebody makes me unequipped to play them. And so I am so grateful that Lin-Manuel Miranda and Tommy Kail and the producers saw in me what I see in myself, what I aspire to be, and that is just a woman that is learning every day what it means to be powerful and influential in spite of whatever barriers exist. I understand that, and that's who she is. I'm glad that they just let me live in that role without question, and I am grateful that it was rewarded so beautifully.
Renee, the next question is going to be in the back on your right.
Renee, I actually had a chance to meet with you a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the faith, having deep faith. I would love for you to talk about a little bit about that, especially in light of your day today.
One thing I didn't have an opportunity to say when I won this award, because they said I had 90 seconds from the moment they called my name, is that when I first went to an audition for this show, and since then, I had a constant prayer in my heart, and that was just that I would hold on to this job. I knew from afar, before I even had it, that it was the best job any woman could get, any person could get. And believing that I could just get it wasn't enough. You actually have to hold on to it. I'm surrounded in a cast by the most talented people in the world, and I just wanted to stay in the room with them. And when I think about my faith and how it is always growing stronger, it's because I asked something, and what I received is so much greater than what I asked for. I asked just to keep a job, and I got a Tony for it, and a drum desk for it, and a hotel room. I asked just keep a job, and I can't even take my kid to the playground without a bunch of little kids coming up and asking for my autograph. I have the privilege of being a part of something that will infect children with the same disease I have, and that's a love for the theater. And that is just simply not because of my own worth, but because of the grace of God. And so my faith is constantly growing, and tonight so rewarded.
Renee, the next question for you will be here, second row on the left.
Hi, I want to know how you and also the rest of your castmates, if you've talked about it, are feeling about passing the baton of your roles to like the touring cast and the next. What's it like to kind of share it, give it away?
So my first Broadway show I played, I don't know what number Nala I was, but there were many Nalas before me, and I actually am slightly famous for being the last Mimi on Broadway. And one of the things that was really freeing about taking on the role at that time is that I knew there had been so many Mimis, some of them way more brilliant than I ever would be, and some of them way worse than I could ever be. And so I felt free in that I could find it without having to live up to something. I think there's an advantage of being able to go into a role after somebody and pick and choose. Do I want to do what she does, or am I going to find my own way in? And I think you can do both. I know for a fact that any role that is well written has room for all kinds of different people, all different races, all different sizes. Honestly, I want to play Alexander Hamilton. So yeah, I am confident that every production of Hamilton, I already see some of it on my Twitter feed, the high schools, the junior highs, and the LA company, and the Chicago company, they're going to be brilliant, and they're going to be different.
Renee, right here to your left.
Yes. You mentioned in your 90 seconds that you had from the time you got up, since it was announced, you're both the award and your children. And what has that meant to you in this year and getting the second child?
Yes. So people, have been saying, "Oh my gosh, this is a dream come true. This is a dream come true," and it is a dream come true. But in a different way. I didn't really spend the last 10 years with a really wonderful career in the theater praying about a Tony, because I think there's a lot of really brilliant actors that don't even make it to New York City. You know what I mean? That don't get an opportunity to be in a great show that happens to be on a Broadway and it happened in a specific year. I don't necessarily think this makes me a better actor than anybody in the whole wide world. It's just a huge celebration of what we all are doing around the world, and I get to kind of be the poster of that for a moment. What I did pray about for the last 10 years was my family, because I used to always say, if at the end of my life I'm surrounded by Tonys and Oscars and Emmys, I don't think it's going to feel as good when I transition as it would feel if I'm surrounded by a lot of really ungrateful children. And grandchildren, whatever, however mad they are at me. So that's what I worked on, and maybe by the grace of God it was challenging for me. It didn't come so easily, which is probably a good thing, because I would have spent too much time worried about stretch marks. And I didn't have the luxury of being stressed out about superficial things, because I knew very early on when we started trying that for us to have children it was going to be a miracle. So I stand here tonight grateful for this award, specifically because I can stand on a mountaintop and testify about a victory. I have two, and they're amazing. And this gave me an opportunity to celebrate that gift.
Renee, the last question will be here, third row on the left.
Hi there. Would you consider reprising your role in either London or in any of the other American productions?
I would love to. I would love to. I think because I was the last Mimi in Rent, and being a part of the show at that time when the audiences knew it so well, it felt very much like being in a concert. And I already see that happening at Hamilton in the beginning. The audience was just so silent because they understood that every couplet is not to be missed. And now we have more and more audiences that are so familiar with this music. They know every line. It's actually daunting because if you mess up, they're going to know. And so I know that the London production and the San Francisco production and the Chicago production and all the millions of productions will have more and more people that have a greater intimacy with the work. And it'll be like a Rocky Horror Picture Show. It'll be a party. And I would very much enjoy having that experience. And yet, I do have two small children and a beautiful husband over there. And I tell you, so this is one thing that's really true, and that is you just don't do this in your own strength. You just don't. Nobody's that great. Nobody's that powerful. None of us. I mean, you don't do what you do in your own strength. And one thing you become very well aware of, gosh, it's going to be even harder to go to work now with this. Because people are going to be like, it's not just the hype of the show, they're going to be like, so she wanted to, I'm kind of a surprise. I was a surprise, And now they're going to be like, that's, it's like when you watch that Oscar show, after it won the Oscar and it never really lives up to it. So yeah, I'm probably going to have that pressure now. And that's a little scary. Every day there's a screaming crowd of people before the lights go down. You guys, it's crazy at Hamilton right now. On the street, there are rows and rows of people who don't even have tickets to the show, who are just there on the street to do a sing-along. They're just out on the street singing along with other strangers this music. They love it so much. And that's exciting, but it's also sometimes feels a little, it just gives me a bit of an anxiety, because I kind of feel like I have to live up to it sometimes. And I so far I've been able to live up to it because of the grace of God. And so I'm really, really always listening for the moment he says it's time to do something else. And as soon as he says that, I'm gone. But he hasn't said yet. So I'm still there.
Thank you very much. That is all the time we have.